We got the winner of the last main events, last 3 main events here. Calling in, he's got the points lead as well in 450 Supercross. It's Cooper Webb. What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, Steve, what's up? We're good, man. We're good.
So,
How about
Cade, you wanna tell Cooper about what was going on in practice there? He was very upset at you.
He was you were upset at me, and I'm sorry. You know,
No,
I'm not.
man,
I'm not. I heard the Revs. I think everyone in the stadium heard the Revs, but
Yeah,
I was on the
that's
fast lap. I was
me
gonna.
too.
I was gonna ask how much you attributed your crash to anger. You came into those whoops rather angry, and I think it was all just aimed right at me as I was rolling by, and I
Right.
just watched you pile drive into him. I'm like, well, that was probably all my fault.
Nah, it's I mean, you know how it goes. It's
He,
hot laps are like gold, and us racers get
Yeah.
fired up really for no reason
Hey,
and look like idiots
well,
afterwards.
the worst thing is Cade was like, I'm on my fast lap, and then he just really, I'm holding him up. So it's like Cade is going balls out. Cade's going balls out, and you're just like, get out of the way, dude.
I'm trying so hard. You could have given me like 2 more seconds at the finish line, and you wouldn't have caught me.
Right.
But like, I lost it all in the whoops. I lose it all in the whoops.
Right. Well, congratulations, Coop. Listen, you've had some impressive race wins, including Dallas too, where you took that crash on the whoops, like Cade was saying. This one was, man, after that heat race, you were struggling a bit with the whoops and some combinations, and dude, and then so I was wondering at the start of the show, I said to Cade, I don't know how he got that gate pick because, like Kenny, you were 7th pick, but Cade, the rut was terrible.
So yeah, I think I started in that gate in the heat race because I obviously didn't have a great heat race gate pick, but nobody chose it, and I'd rather be on the inside. But the gate next to me was perfect. The rut was like super wide and smooth, and I was like, that has to be the gate that Kenny took, and the one you took had to be it. And I'm assuming that you were just thinking, hey, if I can't beat him out of the gate, I can at least follow him because I know he's probably going to start up front, and I can just tuck the inside then.
Yeah, no, I mean, like you said, it was when I went down in the heat, it kind of, I think I was 10th pick, so you don't know what you're going to get. I mean, I was assuming I was going to be outside, and a lot of guys went outside, and I mean, yeah, it's sometimes for me, like the rut is important, but also where you're at and situations and stuff is also important. So yeah, the rut was no good at all, but I felt like it was a safe spot to start, and even with the bad start, I think it worked out to where you could still come out the first turn with a good track position. And to be honest, my start was still good. Like, he beat me out, but it was better than the 6 or so guys inside of me. So it all, like you said, it worked out. But
Ricky,
it's not always like that.
Ricky always says condition over position, right? And meaning the condition of that rut. And so I've had riders when I was a mechanic definitely be like, look, I'm not starting with that rut. I'm going outside. But not for you though, Coop. Not for you that time. So generally, are you generally a condition over position guy, or do you not? You're just always going to go inside if you can, as far as inside as you can go.
I think every race is different. Like, I always look at the angle of the first turn and try to get the straightest angle, but also kind of understand the next few turns too. And when you have back-to-back left-handers, it's
you got the inside 2 corners in a row.
Inside is important, in my opinion, to be on the left side.
Right.
But you never know. I mean, I've gotten good starts from all over. Sometimes, I genuinely like to be by the box just to have that little bit of extra room on whatever side you choose. But sometimes that's way out there, and so, I think it just depends. I mean, I always look, the rut's important, but like you're saying, I tend to look at how things have played out all day. I watch like every start and kind of just see where they're coming from, and that's usually where I try to be around.
Right. Yeah. No. It was a good move. Did you give Kenny a little bit of a rev in the one turn? Looked like you came in hot, and I don't know if you yelled or Rev pulled the clutch in and revved, because in that battle in the main event, it looked like he hesitated for a second, like, oh shit, Coop's coming.
Yeah. No, I didn't. It was
right.
weird. Like, that kind of happened to me in the heat with Chase. The way that section was, I think because we were landing super hard and turning right away, it happened to me too, where Chase was behind me.
Okay.
And just the way he in the air, when you take off and land, and if he like revved in the air, you feel like the guy was like on your rear wheel.
Yeah.
when they weren't. So I think it was just kind of like an area where you're off the gas. It's like I think Kenny was off the gas.
Sure.
And I was still mid-air, to where it kind of sounds like, oh, man, he's right there. So, and I'm sure, I think, like earlier in the main event, I kind of ran that line similar. I wasn't close enough to make the pass, but I think like second lap just to kind of show a wheel. So I'm sure maybe that's what he was thinking is this is a passing spot. But, yeah, I think it was, a good – I was close, but like you said, for me, it was more just to kind of let him know I'm right there and hopefully have him hesitate, which he did, and missed that rhythm, and then that set up the eventual pass.
The sand section, Cade and I were breaking down a little bit. He was struggling there a little bit. You look like you nailed it. I wasn't there. I guess that doesn't matter anyways because I don't get to walk the track or anything. But I couldn't on TV. I'm like, hey, that looks fairly simple, double to the inside, and there we go. But man, it was giving a lot of guys trouble.
It was tough. I think because you couldn't see on TV, there was ruts all the way across, and they weren't straight. Like it was. I don't know how, but they were angled every direction but straight. So
guys like Cade are fucking it up every time. Yeah,
I don't know what was going on, but I mean it was tough. I mean, and I think I noticed Kenny in the heat race was doing that same line he was doing in the main event, and on that right side it was way smoother. But I think what happened in the main event, from everyone just kind of going down the middle, it almost got knocked down and almost easier. It almost got to a point where it got so rough that it was just kind of one main line with holes opposed to just soft sand.
Right.
And also they put a clay base underneath it opposed to normally it's just a pile of sand.
Right.
And we were down to the base on the face of it there in the middle. So, yeah, I think it was looking back, like when I watched the race and stuff, I feel like that was where I was making some good time, and then that's, where he made his few mistakes. And but it was tough. I mean, I'm not a fan of sand and Supercross, so I'm never a fan of it, to be fair. But anyway, that particular sand section actually did set up some passing, or at least opportunities for mistakes, opposed to normally just one line and get roosted and you can't see anything.
Yeah, the sand turns in the corner. What are you guys doing? What Supercross guys doing? Why are you putting sand in this turn where everybody's just going to go inside and blast everybody in the face? It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, Supercross suspension doesn't make it fun too.
No. 702-586-PULP. Give us a call. Cooper Webb's on the phone. He's a points leader right now in 450 Supercross. Brought to you by VertexPistons.com.
Coop, did you guys – I don't know if you guys use like the Dartfish program at your rig, or obviously you guys do film and stuff, but in the heat you came out and you were going 2-4-3, and then obviously Kenny passed you there, and then you switched it up and started going 3 on, 3 off. Do you guys break that stuff down? Like, did you just assume that 2-4 was close enough? Because when I watched film, I don't have the Dartfish stuff. It looked so similar because you gave up so much at the beginning, but then in the heat race – it was clearly better to just pin it to the outside, pin it across, 3 on, 3 off, and
no, we do. We use all that stuff, and like you said, in practice there was really nothing in it time wise. The amount of track you would give up to go way out there to get onto the 3, through the actual rhythm was faster, but when we did the times and stuff and the segments and me doing it, I actually did it faster doing the 2-4-3. So that's what I kind of just stuck to, and I was like, hey, it's the inside. No one can pass you, in my opinion, in that section because you got the inside line. And, for whatever reason, the way they prepped it, I think they made it quite a bit steeper for the night show. And, man, it was slow to do that line, as we saw in the heat race. And
right.
I should have probably I couldn't really see from the first heat, but that's where I guess Tomac had passed Barsha and doing that line, and then
Yep.
that's where I was getting eaten up pretty heavy and also passed. So yeah, I mean it's tough when little sections, not that they change deliberately, but
right.
with prep, every time you prep something, it can change just that little bit. And I think they just lifted up, a lot more and seemed to went so much higher than we were going in practice. But yeah, like you said, in practice, I didn't think there was any difference, to be honest.
And that thing was lippy to begin with. It was big.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
There was some big ones on that track all night. Those rhythms were definitely bigger.
Kate said that table to table was 80 feet. 80 feet. Jeez.
Really?
That's what the one Dirtworks guy told me when we were in the tunnel. He's like, yeah, it's like 81, 82 feet.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
Big. I mean, when we went table to table was big, but to go all the way,
yeah,
it was big. I mean, it didn't feel it. Like it wasn't as sketchy as I guess you would think, going from table to table and such a big gap. But I mean, it was big. It was everything, the 450 had. And
right. Damn.
Yeah, that's big.
Do you enjoy racing? Obviously, that track was more technical than the first two Dallases we had with all the options and different rhythms and stuff. Do you enjoy something more like that where the risk is a lot higher but the reward of doing that stuff? Because obviously there was only like 3 guys in the main doing 3, 5, 2, and not everyone was going 3 on, 3 off. So it's like, do you enjoy that stuff?
I did. I mean, it's tough because, like you said, right, it depends what situation you're in. I think if you're coming through the pack and it's a big obstacle like that guys aren't doing in front of you, then it becomes kind of sketchy because you might be jumping over top of someone type deal. But I think, as you saw too, in 25 laps, it's key to make it every lap, because there's so much time to be lost. So I liked it. I mean, we were just talking too, like I felt like all the rhythms gave us options. Like we saw that there was two options, and the one we're talking now had 3 or 4 options.
3 options, yeah, for sure, right? Yeah.
It is crazy too, though. Like we discussed, in this day and age, it seems like of racing with the dartfish in the video, it's like for me, I did that big one time in the free practice, and then by the first qualifying practice, 3 or 4 other guys are doing
everybody
it.
sees it. Yep.
It's like, so we all kind of learn the rhythms so fast just from that technology anyways.
Yep.
But I do think it's nice to have those style rhythms where, hey, if you don't get the corner right, then it's going to affect the rhythm lane, and you're going to lose time, so it's not so it's more, I guess you got to have technique, I guess, a bit more than just hammering and scrubbing as hard as you can, or driving through a rhythm as hard as you can. So I enjoyed it. I thought the track was actually a good track. I thought all of them they got better, I felt like, as the Dallas races went on, which I was pumped on, because I feel like with the turnaround time, it's hard to do that, and they changed them entirely, which was cool. I felt like before, maybe at like Orlando and some of the Salt Lakes last year and stuff, they would almost just leave the same rhythms, and it's like, man, that's, in my opinion, that's one of the coolest things about Supercross is we get a brand new track every weekend, and that's a challenge is learning the track every weekend. And so I was pumped to kind of get like 3, in my opinion, totally different tracks under one roof.
I thought Dallas 1 would be awesome, and it turned out to be terrible. I was like, oh, look at a split lane. You got some speed. You got some bowl turns. I'm like, this thing's going to be great. And it was follow the leader, because everybody's doing exactly the same pace. And I'm like, okay, never mind. I guess I can't design a track, because I thought.
No, and that's like you said, man. We had that conversation a lot. It's tough. It's tough when we're all so close in time to make a track racy.
Yep.
But with dartfish too. I mean, it's like, like you said, you have a split lane, but after free practice, you already know which lane's faster by how much.
Yep.
And it's like, man, it makes it tough.
Yep.
I mean.
Yeah, you got to cut them some slack. You're right. Yep.
Yeah.
Kate, is there anybody? I don't think the fans realize, like, at the end of a 25-lap main event, the track is hammered. It's almost unsafe. Kate, is there a better guy than Coop at figuring that stuff out? It's incredible. Like, the tracks get sketchy. They get so rutted up. They get so beat up. And I've been so impressed with Coop on figuring that out as it goes.
Well, Coop's so good at staying low in the berms.
Yep.
I think a lot of the other guys struggle. And I tend to lean on that as well because I don't love threeing out of tight corners. So, like, if you can stay low and just double out really fast, it's almost as fast as going high and tripling out of it, right?
Yeah.
So
and you can do that for 20 laps.
Easily.
Right.
Where, like, once the track starts to go away, Coop just resorts to, like, hey, I'm going to smash into the bottom of this berm, pivot around, and double out of the corner really fast. And I think he's really good at that, and it makes it easy for him to make up time that way, where if you have to slow down to set up for this rut and then pin it out of the rut and then clip the 3 out of the corner, it's not as fast.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. It's a special skill, I think. We got some phone calls for you, Coop. All the lines are full. This guy's been on hold for 2 hours and 40 minutes to talk to you, so we better get to him. It is Jake. Jake, welcome to the show. Thanks for holding for so long. What are you going to ask Cooper Webb?
Yeah, what's up, guys? First of all, I just want to say congratulations, Coop. Man, that was awesome sweeping Dallas like you did.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, for sure. My question was, rewind back to 2020, and, you crashed out in the Dragon's back, and obviously...
Oh, we never saw any replays of that or anything. I never really saw any replays of that. Good God, dude. Anyway,
right. No, so, like, you fought through that injury, and you were still super competitive, going through 2020. And I personally think that it cost you the championship. I think you would have won it 100% had you been 100%, So my question was, coming into Dallas and sweeping like you did, do you feel like that was, a redemption coming in here and doing what you did?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, like you said, it's crazy in racing. We were talking about it even yesterday. There's so many highs and lows in this sport, and like you said, a year ago I was getting scraped off the floor. Like you said, in my opinion, lost the championship right then and there, or any hope at really winning it at that point, and even cost me points, but pain and whatever you want to call it. You get injured, and like I still have, I had lingering effects from that crash from outdoors. So to rewind and then fast forward to a year and have the ultimate success in racing being winning, but winning all 3 in the stadium that took you out the year before is honestly pretty special. And just to prove to yourself that you can mentally, get through that and come back a year later and say, you know what, I'm going to tackle this thing and, grab it by the balls, I guess, and own it, and instead of being kind of fearful or thinking about that. And so I think that's the cool thing, like you said, when you look back on, for me, I just always try to overcome things, and to be able to do that, I felt was huge, not only for the points and the way the series and all that, but just for mentality and just proving to yourself, like, hey, you can have a season-altering crash and an incident, but be able to a year later, have the ultimate redemption.
Cool. Thanks, thanks, Jake.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, dude, you are one tough dude. I got to tell you, man. Toughest guy.
Well, I don't, Jake, I don't know, because Phil was calling him a pussy for not finishing that race. Phil thought that he should have got up and finished. So I don't know. I'm fucking Phil.
Yeah, well, but that's
God
just Phil.
bless.
Phil's going to give him shit, and that's how it's going to be.
Right. So thanks for the call, man.
Yeah, thanks, Phil.
Yeah, no problem. One last thing. I got to give a shout out to my Rocket Farm riders.
All right. Sounds good. Consider it
Y'all
done.
have a good night. Take care.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, Phil just being like, oh, he raced the next race. I mean, how bad could he have been? Shut up, Phil.
Yeah.
Moron.
Fucking Phil.
That's what I told Phil. He didn't race because he had a little cut on his hand. Like,
yeah, exactly, right?
nah, just kidding.
Luke, what's your question for Cooper Webb?
No, I didn't have a question. I just want to tell him thank you. He back in 2016, my daughter had a bad wreck in a barbed wire fence, and Coop didn't know me from anybody, and actually through Marshall Plum, he signed a jersey to my daughter, and Marshall gave it to us. And I just want to say thanks, man. You didn't have to do that. You didn't know me from anybody or my family. I just appreciate it, and that's a big reason why I love this sport.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. No worries. Glad I could help out, man.
Cool.
Like I said, I appreciate it, and congrats on the win. Let's bring it home, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. We'll try.
Thanks, Luke. Appreciate it. Next up is Herb's on 3. Herb, what's going on? You're a friend of Coop?
Yeah. Hey, Cooper. It's Herb Roberts.
Hey, how are you, man?
What's going on, dude?
Just here on Pulp, man, and having some fun.
Good deal. Look, I just wanted to let you know, man, I'm over at Richie and Jamie's every race night, and we always watch the race together, and I just want to give you huge props, huge congratulations on the Arlington sweep. That was about as impressive as anything as I've ever seen.
Yeah, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. It was, like you said, it was super special, and, man, I'm pumped.
Yeah, that's well said, Herb. Thanks for calling, man.
Yep.
Yeah, it's amazing to see the turnover that we've had in this series, and you've just grabbed a hold of this thing, Coop. It's been amazing for sure. Darkside, you want to talk about Sexton? Are you going to start beef with Coop and Sexton, Darkside?
No, I haven't got a chance to talk to him in a little while, so I figured I'd have to do it on your show. 2 things real quick, Coop. In the heat race, when Chase took out your front wheel and you went down, how much, knowing you, I feel like that was a lot of motivation for the main event. Like, I know how those things fire you up. So I'd like you to talk about that, and then I want you to answer. Usually, when a track has big whoops, you're not as good as the other guy sometimes. That's your weakness, it seems like. You figured it out. You figured out a blitz and then kind of a double-double or something at the end that was working. Did that break Kenny, in your opinion? Does that break him for the season?
I guess I answer your first question.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a racing incident, no big deal, but at the same time, yeah, I was pissed. I mean, as a racer, anytime you get taken out, intentional or not, you're not pumped. I mean, and for me, being in the position I'm in, it's important to get those good gate picks and stuff. So yeah, I was super fired up, and honestly, I think that kind of helped me in the main event because I was, the Raj and Ian came to me like, hey, just let it go. And I just told them, I said, all right, I'm going to let it go, but I'm going to go out here and I'm going to win this main event and that'll be my redemption. Mm-hmm. And, so they were all pumped on that, but yeah, I mean, it was, like I said, I think for me, I fuel off of situations like that. I feel like I'm in that area. It's pretty good. So, for me, it was definitely as bad as the heat race went for me riding and then getting, taken out. It was like almost took my mind off of how bad I rode to like, screw this. I'm going out there and I'm going to try to kick some ass. So, yeah, it worked out. And then, I feel like for me this year, I really did try to improve the whoops, and I'm not the best guy in them by any means, but I feel like I've improved a lot. And, obviously I'm good when I can jump them, but I feel like I'm still, quite good now, even with them getting bigger or, so far this season, I don't feel like I've been, hindered in the whoops like maybe I have been in the past. And so for me, I think it's good to, like you said, ironically, passing Kenny in the whoops is something that I've probably never done. So, it is pretty cool. But I agree. I think for the guys, they used to kind of bank on me struggling in the whoops and knew, hey, if there's big whoops tonight, he's not going to be in the mix. And I think that's not necessarily the case anymore. So Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have that kind of in my arsenal to obviously still plenty of improvement on that end, but to be able to be competitive and especially Kenny, I mean, he's exceptional in the whoops. So I think it's good to have improved that this year and be able to be in the mix, no matter what kind of tracks we get or big whoops, small whoops, jumpers, whatever.
We had James and Chad blitz whoops like nobody else. Jeremy, of course. Then Marvin comes around. He jumps whoops like nobody else. Coop, you're bringing the jump blitz program to many sections, and it's impressive. It's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's it worked out. I mean, like you're saying, I think it's getting to where the tracks are just getting rough, and it's tough, but. I think, like you said, those guys back in the day had some incredible speed in the whoops, but there was times, too, where I think it just kind of depends what the track does. I mean, sometimes it's faster to, I don't know how, but sometimes it is faster to jump. But like I said, I think for me this year, being able to have the ability to do both is good.
I think, Chad's going on Instagram about, blitz. He's jumping, DV and Chad are yelling and screaming on social media about blitzing whoops and nobody wants to blitz whoops, blah, blah, blah. I think what they forget or what they don't remember is the four strokes are beating the hell out of whoops, right? And these things are not blitzable by halfway through the main or early. Like, they're just not. And these guys, I think they forget about that. Like, guys, that two-stroke days, whoops stayed that way all night. You're right, but...
Yeah.
And I feel like... Go ahead, Coop.
Yeah, go ahead, Jay. I feel like they're also the unevenness of them plays a huge factor in that. I mean, at least for me, like, when they're fresh and like you're saying in free practice and even in the first few practices, we don't jump them because they're still good enough to blitz. But like you're saying, there's the amount of bikes we have on them, and I think what people don't think about too is back in just a few years ago, everything was laps.
Yeah.
Well, now that it's time, what people don't realize is you're adding 2 to 3 more laps in a heat race, times that by 4. You're adding 2 to 3 more laps in an LCQ, times that by 2, and then you're adding 5 to 10 more laps in a 250 main, as well as a 450 main sometimes.
Yep.
So you do the math on all that, you're adding 40 or 50 laps to a track in total. And that's back in the day, 40 or 50 laps less than what they did. And yes, 2 strokes and, the evolution and whatever you want to call it. But I think that's a factor that a lot of people kind of tend to overlook as well.
Yeah, I agree. Darkside, anything else?
Yeah, I was just going to tell him, like, honestly, Coop, I had you at second on the night until Chase took your wheel out, and I told Kevin Kelly that was a mistake. And I think again, like what Steve said, you were not very good those first couple of laps of the main and the whoops, and then you changed. What everybody keeps saying about you is you adapt, right? That's the word everybody keeps using, and you proved it, man. And it was impressive, dude. So
I appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah, man. All right, thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Darkside. Appreciate it. All right, Coop. So motocross testing in California for a little bit here?
Yeah. We're came to California, do some riding, and
sweet.
Probably not test. I feel like I made that mistake we always do, where it's, hey, first day back on outdoors, let's go test when we're not ridden it and still on Supercross mode. So I think for now we're just going to do some riding and kind of get some motos in to start some things on the outdoor program.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, thanks for your time tonight. I appreciate it. I know you're a busy guy. You get hit up by a lot of us jerky media guys, so I always appreciate you taking the time, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Steve.
All right, thanks, Cooper. All right, see you. That's Cooper Webb, everybody.